What's up guys, my name is Your Heroes and welcome back to more Gates of Hell. And just before I get into today's video, my room, or if you see around about you that my room's a wee bit of a mess, but that's just because I'm actually in the middle of packing up and moving into a new house, so I do apologise if maybe videos are a wee bit lacking. It's just with work and with moving house, it's going to be a wee bit hectic this week, but videos should stay daily as usual, hopefully uploading even every day except from Friday. Friday is the only day where I won't be uploading just because that is the day we actually move house. So other than that, then from Monday to Thursday videos should be going up as normal. Anyway, today guys, I thought we have a look at the new Soviets or USSR units that have been added into the game, or into the beta release. Now for some reason they still, as far as I'm aware, they still haven't updated the game yet to content update 5, so I'm still in the beta version unless I'm completely wrong. But in that time, today we are going to be having a look at some of the units that they've released to the Soviet Union, such as the YAG. The units I will be covering today is the YAG 1029K, the ZIS-6, the T60 BM8, the 300mm BM30, the 300mm BM31, the 76mm M1939 29K, the M3A1 Stuart Lend Lease, the M3 Lee Lend Lease, and you've got the two Shermans, one late and one early, and that is what we're going to be looking at today. So without further ado, we're going to go into the editor and I'm going to give you some really good shots, some really good explosions for you, because most of them, a wee spoiler, they are artillery, some nice rocket artillery, so you will see a lot of explosions. But if you guys would like to see more tutorials or some new units faction review, then let me know in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright guys, here we are. So we are this is it. This is the amount of options we get to play with today. There's actually quite a lot of it today, and most of them, or I think most of it, is actually from the Lend Lease section. So as you can see, like the Stuarts, the which is all American. Actually all of them are American. You can see the two Stuarts, the M3 Lee, and then you've got the Shermans here. Now there is more Shermans than normal, but number one, just because this is the editor, so there's actually, you know, a early and a late model for the Stuarts. The M3 Lee, there's only one version for that, but for the 76, for the Sherman tanks, there is an early and late, but we'll get to that in a minute. But first of all, I would like to start off with kind of the artillery pieces, slash the rockets, artillery, whatever it is. So first thing we're going to be looking at is a 76mm M1398. Now I believe this actually looks pretty familiar. I feel like this has been in the game, already is in the game, but apparently in the changelog it did say 29K, but when I looked through the editor there was no section that mentioned that, so this is the closest one that I could find. And then this one looks really cool. It can punish your enemies, especially your light infantry. If you have a listen here, it'll be good against tanks, mostly about medium to lightly armored tanks. I would think you could possibly challenge a Tiger, but then again you might struggle. But I think it'd be good up against your Panzer 3s, your Panzer 4s, even your light infantry, just because it fires HE as well. So you do actually have a very good range of options here, and as you can see, it is very good for blowing, you know, destruction up as well. So that is your 76mm, because honestly I thought this was just an AA piece, but it does say heavy AA, but AA as an anti-air, and it doesn't look like, it sounds like it's an anti-air, because anti-air is more of kind of like the DPM is a lot faster, but this just sounds more of just like a anti-tank gun in itself. But this thing can still pack a punch and is still very powerful. Especially you need to look out for this when you are maybe the Germans and or the Finnish, and you're bringing up Panzer 3s, Panzer 4s, or lightly armored vehicles, or even infantry at that as well. So definitely this is a tank, an anti-tank gun to be formidable with. The weaknesses is that it moves very slowly, so it can be carried by a truck, to get in position. But if you're trying to get out there quickly with no options, you have to move the infantry have to move it, and that's one of the weaknesses. So if you can get the infantry off this and kill them all, then you can either steal this gun, use it for yourself, or you can completely destroy it with like an AT grenade. So definitely some advantages but disadvantages of this as well, and that's what I'll be doing through all of them as well, the advantages and disadvantages of all these units here. Alright, let's have a look at the next one here, which is called the YAG 1029K. Now this is, I believe, a very similar weapon to the 76mm, but I think it's just put on a truck. That's it. That's the reason. Now, when I first heard YAG, I thought it was a yak, as in, you know, the plane, the airplane, the Soviet airplane, but this is just basically a 76mm, basically this thing on a truck here. And as you can see, the legs are down. Now, the way that, by the way, the way to kind of put these legs down is that there's no button for it, you know, unlike where you have to press the left control, where you have to change artillery position. With this, because it's on the truck, all you just need to do is actually just take control of the truck and just move it forward, and as you can see that the legs go up. But let's say you want to just, you know, put the legs back down, just stop the truck and the legs will go down itself. So that is how you do it. So you don't need to there's no button down here that allows you to change it. It goes up automatically and it goes down automatically when you move or stop the truck. The advantages of this is that it's mobile, it's on truck, so it's a lot faster to get around and get quickly in position. Therefore you're able to, if you're getting surrounded by Panzer 3s or Panzer 4, get this thing as quickly as you can, but keep it at a distance, because as you know, this thing does not have any armor because it's a truck, so it is very vulnerable to tanks or AT guns that can set this truck on fire, which could then, you know, blow up the whole thing itself. So keep this thing at a distance. And also, something I would also recommend is don't put it in a position that I'm doing, because as you can see, for some reason actually it can still shoot through the truck, but I think in this, because of the editor, it will just shoot through it. But in reality, it will most likely, you'll have to aim over the gun, but in this case it won't work. What you'll have to do, you have to reverse the truck, so this area is a lot more open. So if I just do it from the other way, from this angle here, as you can see that there's a lot more options open to, you know, my left, my front, my sides. Just watch out for the front here, just because you are vulnerable and you can't shoot over the truck or shoot through it unless the actual game permits that. But that is an advantage and some disadvantage of it. Keep this thing at a distance so it doesn't get blown up by, you know, a fire because the truck is vulnerable, but also put this thing into action, because that 76mm can really pack a punch. It's just the same as the other AA one that I just mentioned there, but as you can see, it can still pack a really heavy punch with your AP and HE as well. So really, really good. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now we're getting to the really good stuff. We are going on to the rocket artillery. This is the BM1316 ZIS-6. This is apparently one of the new ones that they've added, and it is the same. You can see that the wee legs are down here, but as you can see, the way just to move it is just if you move it, it will just move up. It will just bring up the legs automatically, and then when you stop, it will just go back down, I think, hopefully. Okay, maybe it doesn't, never mind, the legs don't go down. But let's just have a wee look. Let's get a nice cinematic here, and let us just do a wee direct control here, and let's just aim for some destruction. So in 3, 2, 1, fire away. Yeah, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is definitely, look at the amount of destruction this thing does, and the fact that it just keeps firing and doesn't stop is insane. Now I believe it's called the Katusha, but but I think in this case, I think the Katusha is slightly like the older version of this. I think this is like the early version of it, so I'm not 100% sure, but this thing can really pack a punch. Again, advantages of is that you know, it can definitely do a lot of splash damage. If you see a lot of infantry, spotted a lot of infantry lined up or even just separated, then it is definitely worth using this thing. As well as if you're attacking and they've built in a trench and they've built in a good defense line, and they're kind of bunched up together, get this thing firing at it. Even if they're even slightly spread out, so they're harder to kill, still use this thing because it can still do a lot of damage to defenses, kill, you know, baggages, barbed wire, tank traps. It can destroy all those things, so definitely use this thing. And the same goes for these two. Now this is the 300mm M31 and M30. Now, to us, I actually don't know what the difference is, because considering, well, I was going to say I don't know the difference. The difference is that one has got one launcher and the other has two launchers. So why don't we just give the one with the M31, we'll give the one with the M30 a launch, and then we'll have the M31 give a launch. So in 3, 2, 1, fire. There you go. Oh my goodness, these 300mm rockets can do a lot of damage. From what I'm guessing and what I've just looked at, you can see that they'll probably destroy lightly armored tanks, armored vehicles, even possibly Panzer 3s or Panzer 4s. Not Tigers, probably you'll just immobilize the Tigers, but you'll definitely, you know, kill stuff like Sherman tanks when the Americans come out, and T-34s, or any tanks really, Panzer 3s, Panzer 4s, as I said, anti-tank guns especially, and good for getting rid of those defences. Alright, let's have a look at the M31 now, and this thing it's just the same, but it's just got a second tube, another line of launches. In 3, 2, 1, fire. Wow, you can see the amount of smoke just going up in the air just now. You can see it lasted longer just because it has those two tubes. Now, I don't know what these ranges are in these. I think they're quite a lot. Well, actually, they can do it while they're reloading. Or they can. I think it's about 271 or 274, I think, but I don't know if it's just the editor not allowing me. I think the same as the rocket as well. Just because, oh, never mind, this can go up to 300 odd. Again, I don't know if it's just the barrier that's stopping it from going further, but these ranges are really, really good. Okay, now let us move on to the last and final part of this review, of this unit's review, which is the tanks. Now, first of all, you have the American Lend Lease, the American made M3 Stuarts. You've got the M3A1 Stuart, and then you've got the M3 Stuart, which is late. Now you can see the difference on it completely. One's kind of got a more sturdy kind of turret. One's actually got an observation for the commander, so you can pop out his window. Now there is no machine gun on it at the top, but you can see it does actually, it looks very much similar, but for this one, for the M3A1 Stuart, it has a 37mm gun with an M6L35 with a Browning 30 cal, and the hull armor ranges between 10 and 44mm, and the turret ranges between 12.7 and 51mm of turret armor. Now, if we look at the the M3 Stuart, this carries the same M37mm gun with the same machine gun, the Browning cal, and the armor, as you can see, is actually very similar but slightly different. So the hull armor is exactly the same, as you can tell. The hull armors look exactly the same, so the hull armor will be the same. Turret is slightly different though, with of course, as I said, the M3 Stuart A1, the M3A1 Stuart being a maximum armor of being 51, whereas the M3 Stuart is actually slightly less, with 38. So the M3 Stuart has actually got less turret armor than the M3A1 Stuart. Now I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because that observation post could be a weakness, therefore, you know, it's slightly, this turret is slightly, the M3A1 turret is slightly smaller. As far as I'm aware, actually what I have noticed is just now is that the M3 Stuart has 2 wee machine guns at the side, but I don't know if they're counted in the game. Oh no, they are. So as you can see, you've got the main one in the turret, you've got one at the side, and then you've got, oh yeah, sorry, wait, what's this one? Sorry, that one is, so I'm having a look myself. So that one is the, wait, where's that one? Oh, sorry. Oh, I've just moved the tank by mistake. So you've got the two main ones there, and then you have the 2 extra 30 cals at the side. If you press number 4, they'll actually both fire off as well. Whereas this one, if you take control, it's only got one here and then one on the hull as well. So that is the difference. The M3A1 Stuart's got slightly better turret armor, but the M3 Stuart actually has more machine guns on it, able to defend itself better against troop. These tanks are lightly armored, so they're vulnerable against Panzer 3s, Panzer 4 Tigers, Jag Tigers, a lot heavier tanks. They could possibly stand up against Panzer 2s and Panzer 1s, possibly even the Luchs as well, but even then it's still vulnerable, especially to AT guns such as the 37mm AT gun, because as you know, this thing has no armor, so it is very vulnerable. But the good thing is it is very, very maneuverable, going at I was going to say a top speed, but there is no, it's not showing the top, oh sorry, the top speed being at 58 kilometers an hour or miles per hour. So it is very maneuverable, very fast, and get that. This would be probably a very good scouting tank. You know, get it up in a bush or somewhere, even though I don't know if mechanics kind of work like that, but get them up in the bush, get them scouting, and get the hell out of there, because this thing does not stand a chance again against Panzer 3s or Panzer 4s or T-34s, KV-1s, anything like that. Alright, moving on to one of the newer vehicles into the game, even though they're all new, but this one is the M3 Lee. So the M3 Lee is an American made tank. It has a slightly, the caliber of gun is slightly higher now. It's a 37mm, and it has a lot, and it actually has a second gun. The turret one here is a 37mm, so that's not the main armament. So that's the turret one here, the 37mm, but the other one is a 75mm gun right here, which packed a lot more of a punch. That will definitely penetrate through start going through your Panzer 3s, Panzer 4s, possibly even your heavy AT guns as well, just because of the caliber. It's got high explosive range. So as you can see, it's if you actually click onto it, you can see that this thing carries AP and HE, and then the 37mm one carries AP and HE as well, with having 3 30 cal Browning machine guns, you know, one being at the turret, the other one again also being the other one being in the hull, and the last one being on that mini turret at the top as well. So you actually have a lot of defenses when it comes to the type of infantry. Well, you'll be able to deal with infantry and no chance, considering that this is, the hull is kind of stuck into place, whereas these tanks, you know, you actually have a turret and then you have the hull, whereas this thing, the gun, the main 75mm gun is, you know, it's stuck. It can only maybe move about 30 degrees to right, 30 degrees to left, therefore, you know, it's stuck in one place. That's why you have your main kind of your turret one, which is your 37mm, which will help you if you do get flanked from behind, to at least immobilize such as heavier vehicles, but also with infantry as well, you know, because the wee turret at the top will be able to get round and protect itself, considering that the 75mm is stuck in that one place. So very, very useful. The M3 are very highly likely to use this. I would recommend using this at the start, just because there's so many options of, when it comes to guns, machine guns, protecting itself. Absolutely a brawler and really well suited to, you know, the start of the game. Now the hull armor on this isn't great, ranges between 10 to 50mm, but but as you can see, some of it is slightly sloped, where some of it has got flat armor. As you can see, if you're kind of going round the tank here, the mantlet here is completely flat, so the gun could actually break in itself, or the turret is quite vulnerable as well, with only being 22 to 50 millimeters. So it's not exactly great, and you will get easily pierced by your Panzer IVs, your Panthers, your Tigers. So definitely don't think that this is a strong tank, because it's definitely not. But I would highly recommend maybe use this against maybe your Panzer IIs, Panzer IIIs. I wouldn't risk it against your Panzer IVs or Panthers, just because it's not that well armored, and maneuverability wise, only 42 kilometers or miles per hour. It's not that fast, so just keep it at distance, maybe medium to short range, medium to long range, sorry. Although I would do medium to short range, just because the 37, you have that 37 millimeter as well, but also use that medium range for your 75 millimeter as well. So overall, I think there's a good balanced tank, and I think Barbed Wire Studios did really well on it. Right, let's move on to now the Sherman tanks. Now, as you can see, I have a whole lot of Shermans here, and that's because the editor gives you a lot more options for the Shermans for tanks, even though in the dev blogs or the changelog it said only only 2 Shermans were named. But if you look at here, you've got the M4A2, late and early. Both are the same guns and machine guns. The only thing that's slightly different is the looks, as you can see here, and the armor. The M4A2 will have slightly better armor than the 78. No, I'm actually wrong again. Actually, if I'm looking here, the turret armor actually has more armor than this thing. The turret armor goes from 19.5 to 76 millimeters of armor on the turret, whereas the M4A2 early goes from 19.5 to 89. So this thing actually has better armor, but I don't know if I believe that quite still. And apparently the hull armor is exactly the same, ranging between 10 to 107 millimeters, and that you've got that effective slope armor as well, which will help you against your Panzer IIIs and 4s, even Panthers as well. Not so much Tigers, or not so much the King Tiger, the Tiger 1 or the Jag Panther, but you might survive it against your Panzer IIIs and 4s, and maybe your 76 millimeters, and definitely your 37 millimeter guns. And it protects itself with this massive Browning 50 cal. Now this is a much bigger upgrade than your 30 cal, as you can see, and this thing has a load of machine guns, one in the turret, another one in the hull, and then of course you've got your main 50 cal at the top, which will heavily deal with any infantry and any AT gun. But the rest, I believe, such as the machine guns built in the turret and the hull, are both 30 cals. So those are the main differences. Both are actually reasonably, maneuverable at 48 kilometers an hour, miles per hour. I would keep this thing maybe a medium to long range, not too long though, just because I think it's only 75 millimeter, the same as a M3 Lee. So definitely maybe keep it slightly shorter, but then again, you don't want to lose these tanks because they could be precious to you, so maybe medium to long range. Okay, we're now going on to the last of the upgraded the U units for the Soviet Union, the Lend Lease program or section, is that now we're moving on to the M4A2 76 early, and both of these, one's early and one's late, and you can again see that visual difference, especially in the type of caliber of the gun as well. Even though they're both 76 millimeters, you can see that the difference in the name. So this one's the M1A2 L52, and this one's the M1A1C L52. So I think possibly the late tank probably has more penetration on its shells. But for turret armors wise, both are, the turret and the hull are both exactly the same. There's no difference. The only thing that's slightly different is that the crew wise, for the early version you will need 5 crew, whereas the late version you'll need 6 crew, and for some reason I do not have a 6th crew up on there. But for machine gun wise, if we look at the early, we have the 230 cals built into the turret and the gun here, as you can see, and then of course you've got your main 50 cal at the top, and then you've got your main 76 millimeter, which carries APC, BC, HE. You've got HE and just those two there, whereas this one you've got the APC, BC, HE and the HE, so both are actually the same. So yeah, that is That is it. And for maneuverability wise, 48 kilometers an hour as well, same as the other early versions of the Shermans. Maneuverable. I would get this thing up against Panthers now, and possibly even Tigers. Would be pushing your luck against Tigers, but definitely put this thing up against your Panther tanks and your Tiger tanks, and I feel like it would be strong enough to tank them, but also I feel like it's got high caliber enough to take them out as well. With the range being, I think, roughly about, it looks like it's got more than 180, but because this is the editor, I think the range is basically, you know, maximum as possible, or it's basically unrealistic. Yeah, that is it for that. And I believe, actually, I think did I miss this one out? I think I did. I think I missed out the T60 BMA. Did I? Can't remember if I missed this one out. But as far as I'm aware, the BMA carries two 24 times 82mm rockets, which can seriously pack a punch here. And as you can see, the good thing about this BMA is that this one actually fires quicker than the other artillery that we've seen there. As you can see with this one here, you can see it fires a lot slower. And the good thing about this is that it can take out trenches, take out tanks a lot easier. Maybe because of the type of caliber it is, the rockets, it won't take out your heavier tanks such as your Panther. It would probably just immobilize them. For the strength of it is that, it is based on a T60 hull, so the fact that you're able to move about quickly, it's very maneuverable at 5 miles an hour or kilometers an hour. The armor is absolutely garbage, so don't think you can complete tank anything. Even though it's kind of slightly sloped, you'll still get penetrated and or if you even get anti-tank gunned, that is very possible as well. So keep the thing at long range, 100%, and you'll be fine. So there you go, guys, that is it for today. I hope you did enjoy today's video. So this was a review of the U units for the Lend Lease program, and just other units as well added to the Soviet Union. If you did enjoy this, make sure you leave a like. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers for the end of the year. That'd be great. And guys, thank you so much for watching and our support, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, and goodbye.